I just want to share my story with you all, and it's a story of somebody who's literally, when you're looking at me, you're seeing someone who's literally haunted. Why am I haunted? Because when you grow up with stories, one story after another, of people like you who pack themselves into little fishermen's boats trying to make it to Europe in search for a better life. And then oftentimes the boat tips and they're at the bottom of the ocean right now serving as fish food. I am haunted because when they decide to take air route, it's all of a sudden somewhere above England, where we are, a body drops from the plane because somebody thought it would be a good idea to hide in the landing gear of that plane on their way to looking for work in Europe. I am haunted because when they think air route is not safe, sea route is not safe, they go for land route, then they get stuck in Libya. And when you're stuck in Libya, on your way again to Europe to get a job, right now, someone like me, I am sold for exactly between $300 and $500. Yes, we are in 2023, yet we still have this going on. What do all of these people have in common? They have in common that they were on their way for a better life. And I am exceptionally more haunted because my parents could have met with that fate. Because my parents, right after I was done with breastfeeding, when my mom was done breastfeeding me, my parents decided to make the journey that so many African parents before them have made, and so many African parents after them have made. Except that in their situation, they were able to do it under safe circumstances because they were lucky to use the legal routes, whatever that means. In any case, that's why I am haunted, and it hasn't left me. I know that the day things will be solved is when that problem will be solved. But in my haunting, things have gotten better. When did they start to get better? Actually, they started to get better when I first moved from my country, Senegal, to Europe. I first landed in Germany, then in France, where I was educated and raised, and then eventually I moved to the United States after business school in France. But when I first moved to Germany, I looked around and I'm thinking, how come they have this and we don't? And the this was just what I was explaining to you guys yesterday. This simple idea of taking a shower, where you come from, it takes a few seconds, to get that going. Where I came from, it took 45 minutes. I won't tell you again why is that. You were here yesterday. But in any case, that question became the defining question of my life. I needed to know, I had to know why this was the case. And of course, everybody had a reason why this was the case. And eventually the question became, why are some countries poor while others are rich? And of course, among the answers that I got to that question, I would like to categorize them in two sections. One side, which is usually African and their allies in the non-African world, they will say, yeah, you're poor because of colonialism, because of racism, because they're stealing your resources. You're poor because this, and it's all around this same concept, and I put them all into a pack that I would call victimhood. But the other side, which is not very savory either, is saying, oh, you're poor because, IQ theory. There's this theory out there that's still being debated in very serious places that blacks and browns are simply not as smart as white people. And others, oh, you're lazy, or you're wars, you can't get your act together. I hear it all. Yet, I haven't heard anything that made sense to me, because if any of that was true, how come my parents, the same people leaving my continent, the minute they do that, something good starts to happen to them? I'm starting to think it's not about them. And the only variable in this equation is the place they happen to be or not. Now I'm starting to think about, what is it about the place where people are, that in some places it's easy, others it's not? Eventually, I'm thinking, so I go on with my life, and life takes me to Silicon Valley, and there I start to build businesses. I'm right now building my third company. And what my companies have in common is there's a sister company in the US, a sister company usually in Africa. And the first time I did it, I was quite frankly shocked and appalled at the difference in the concept of doing business. In one place, it was so easy to start your business. The labor laws so simple, everything. And back home, everything was so complicated. Sometimes you would have to pay 100 times the price to build your business than in the other country. At first I thought, of course, it's normal. It's because we're poor that everything is hard to do a business. And it's here, it's because they're rich, but it's easy to do business. just to come to change my mind. Because at some point you connect the dots, and you're like, you're poor because you have not enough money, at least not enough money to take care of your basic needs. Where does money come from for most of us? It's an income, right? Where do the income come from? A job. Where do jobs come from? Businesses, the private sector. And then all of a sudden it made sense. Okay, this is what it is. It's because it is so darn hard to do business in this country of mine and so many like that we are poor. And conversely, it's because it's so easy for people over there to do business, but actually they're rich. Yeah, poverty is solved by prosperity. Prosperity is built by entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs need an enabling business environment. And that, my friends, was the answer to my question. Africa is the poorest region in the world because it happens to be the most overregulated region in the world, and it's the place in the world where entrepreneurs have the least freedom to enterprise. That's where we have the least economic freedom. Wow. That became a game changer for me, which brings me to the stage today, because the path forward, as far as I'm concerned, is very clear. We build world-class business environment in Africa so that entrepreneurs on the ground can be freed to do their work. They can be unleashed to do the work that only entrepreneurs can do, which is wealth creation, which eventually takes your country to becoming truly sovereign, and then you really matter on the world stage. Because like a friend of mine here said it, Remy Adekoya, he said, it is not about whiteness. For those people who are, I usually call them people sitting in the back, always thinking that there is some big, conspiracy against us Africans and black people, think again. It's not about whiteness, it's about wealth. And if we want to create wealth, we got to let our entrepreneurs work. With that in mind, then I partnered with a group called Prospera, and what we are doing is carving out what we call startup cities in Africa. These are next-generation special economic zones with their own law, own governance, as well as custom regulatory framework so that we get a chance to leapfrog. So I'm not about doom and gloom. In fact, I see a future so bright, it's not even funny at this point, because I don't need all 54 nations to jump on board. All I need is one to say, let's do this. And we do it, the proof of concept works, it's game changer. And I can see it in my lifetime, because usually it takes 25 years to see the transformation. In my lifetime, I could see this continent changing. It is the youngest continent in the world. Average age is 19 years old, 19, and by 2050, 1 out of every 4 people will be African. So when the rest of the world, in the Western world, is fighting each other at the political level especially, when you see an immigrant, I see those people that I told you about in the planes, in the boats, and in Libya stuck as slaves. When you see them and you're like fighting each other, one side says, let's build a wall, another side says, let's bring them all in, then I'm saying, you fight all you want at that level. Meanwhile, I'm going to work to make sure that people get a chance to stay home. Because I can tell you anything you want, but given any opportunity, most of these people would prefer to stay home. And that's what we're working on. And as a matter of fact, we have now 4 nations on the continent that are interested in this, and we expect to break ground next year. So yes, the future is super bright. Thank you.